Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh yeah, really good. अब boot होंगे.
Yeah.
But this is so surreal. हम कितने दिनों से अलग-अलग लैंडस्केप देख रहे हैं, but every time I mean, मतलब same जगह अगर आप different vantage point से भी देखो ना, looks
Yeah, ephemeral. I mean, it's the funny thing, you've been here 10, 12 days and you find that happening, and I've been here 12 years and it still happens. It's still the same for me.
wow.
Every time, even if I'm doing a bike route, the same bike route, just based on the time of the year that I'm doing it, even if it's 2 weeks later, everything has changed. It's like a very cliched line कि पहाड़ों का मौसम और बॉम्बे का फैशन कब चेंज होता है किसी को नहीं पता.
So true, so true. But how did Stoke happen?
Stoke was just, I think, a bunch of serendipitous encounters. I was actually on a tour with a bunch of clients, motorcycling tour. And one of my clients, and who's also a really good friend of mine, he fell severely ill. So, he started suffering from high altitude pulmonary edema. So he had water in his lungs, he was frothing blood from his mouth,
Shit.
Oxygen saturation down to 25. And we managed to get him to the hospital just in the nick of time. And then he had to be evacuated to Leh under observation and with oxygen support. So we had basically an ambulance accompanying us. And the ambulance guy and I got quite friendly. And then cut to maybe a month later, I had come to climb Stoke Kangri. And after I finished the summit and I was coming down, I was going to the taxi point to go back to Leh. And suddenly I see this guy walking towards me in shorts, sunglasses, and hey, hello sir, how are you doing? And I'm like, dude, you're the ambulance guy. What the hell are you doing here? He said, oh, Bhaijan, you forgot. I told you that I'm from Stoke, and so right now I'm on holiday and I'm driving my father's taxi during that period. So I'm like, okay, brilliant. And then he says, Bhaijan, I'm doing some construction in my house. Why don't you come and give me some ideas? I'm like, sure. And I come to his place and he's building 2 rooms above his existing house. And I give him some suggestions saying that, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? And he's happy to oblige. And, little more conversations are happening and he's kind of talking to me saying that, just asking advice on how he should go about doing it. And he says that his father has agreed to all my suggestions. And then he pops it to me saying that, Bhaijan, I'm a government employee, so I can't run this place. Why don't you run the place? And I'm like not thinking guest house, I'm thinking a place for me to stay and, a place for my team to be here when they visit me from Manali, or a place to park my bikes.
Right.
And then one thing led to another, and here we are. We have a lovely little guest house. We have a vegan cafe, a farm-to-table concept. Yeah. So serendipity is all I can say.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. सुनते हुए भी मेरे को ऐसा ही feel हो रहा था कि some things are so meant to be.
Yeah.
उस वहाँ पे taxi stand पे मिलना, and imagine you were not giving recommendations for somebody else's home. You were giving recommendations for your own guest house and cafe.
Exactly. So Stoke, basically like a village. As a village, it's a fairly old village. One, like I mentioned, because there's a glacial stream flowing, there's water, so wherever there's water, there's a village. And because it was in the vicinity of Shea, which was the palace, and it was royal kingdom.
Right.
So
Shea would be somewhere that side.
yeah, exactly there. And then when the Dogras or Zorawar, General Zorawar finally conquered Ladakh,
Right.
and at that point the king of Ladakh was asked to vacate the Leh Palace, and he shifted to Stoke. And then the Stoke Palace came about, and I guess ever since Stoke skyrocketed into a little more prominence because it was the village of the royal family.
Right in the center of the Stoke village lies Kaya Cafe and Guest House. Run by Hashim and Pooja, this place can be a great alternative to Leh to get acclimatized in Ladakh. The guest house is teamed with a vegan-friendly cafe and an expansive organic vegetable garden. With a view of the majestic Stoke Kangri Peak, this minimalist yet comfortable stay is inspired by the traditional Ladakhi elements and can be an ideal base to slow down, take it easy, and soak in the stunning landscape. Since it was a busy day at the cafe, so I decided to head out to explore a bit more of the village and the Stoke Palace. Perched on top of the hill and overlooking the village, Stoke Palace holds some of the most precious truths of Ladakh history and heritage. It's still a living palace and serves as the current residence of the former royal family of Ladakh. A part of the palace has been converted into a heritage hotel and the rest has been turned into a museum that showcases the artifacts of the dynasty. Back at Kaya, it was time to savor some of Pooja's gourmet dishes. The Garden Cafe specializes in bistro-style food which is mostly vegan and made from local produce. The kitchen garden supplies most of their veggies, making it a fine example of a farm-to-table plant-forward cafe.
All right. So what are we having? Something smells really delicious. I think it's not the veggies. Is it a bread? Can I?
So we are...
Yeah, this is some sort of a bread.
Yeah. So we are making my childhood favorite lunchbox treat, but with a little modern take because it's made by a millennial. So I have handwo batter here. So we make the batter the traditional way by fermenting it overnight, and it's baked in a bread loaf. Then we slice it, we toast it, and then we put lots of yummy things on top. So I'll tell you about the yummy things as I
Perfect. मुझे बताइए what am I supposed to do? जो थोड़ा बहुत I think major जो असली काम था वो तो आपने kitchen में कर लिया. जो थोड़ा बहुत बचा है उसमें I can.
So I have 2 knives here. We both can first start slathering garlic chutney on this. So all the components are pretty much from all over the world. Like this garlic chutney, for example, is made by a friend, and it's an Andhra style garlic pickle.
Oh wow.
We put very little of it because it's really spicy.
So Kaya Cafe is all about fusion food.
It is mostly about fusion food. So our main aim is to bring back the forgotten ingredients of India in limelight, and also celebrate some of my favorite Indian dishes. Okay, next we put fermented cashew cream cheese.
Okay.
So this cream cheese, essentially we make our own plant milks in house, and after the plant milk is strained,
And
you
what
have
kind?
a lot of we make almond, we make soya, we make cashew, and after any kind of plant milk is strained, you have a lot of pulp remaining, which usually goes to waste. So with our cashew pulp, we just like kind of rehydrate it and then ferment it and grind it to a smooth consistency to make this
Got it.
cashew cheese. It is flavored with wild garlic, chives, like not the
Can't
root.
wait to taste. I know आप ये सुनना चाहते थे कि can't wait to slather it, but उससे पहले थोड़ा सा taste. Oh wow, yeah.
So this ferment, we keep it slightly sweeter. It probably tastes a little like curd
It does.
to you. So depending upon the culture we use, it gives different flavors. So when we want a sour cream cheese, we do a lacto fermentation,
Acha.
where the lactobacillus is the culture. Here it's fermented using pumpkin miso, which gives it that slight
Sweetness.
sweetness to it. Yeah.
So, shall we?
Please, I'm not gonna eat.
Why?
I don't eat my own food. The appetite goes away while you're making it. Yeah. It's true. You need to like dip it in the lemon chunda
Oh,
and eat it.
yeah. Not at all exaggerating because आपने बनाया और आप सामने बैठे हो. And I generally have a thing for textured food. It should have
Crunch.
थोड़ा सा crunch, थोड़ा creaminess,
Yeah.
freshness of the from the peas as well as from the leaves.
Now the last bite, please dip it in this.
Oh.
So it's supposed to be a mixture of sweet, sour,
Sour.
spicy. That's what Gujarati food is, right? It always has that touch of sweetness. So the sweetness comes in from the chundo.
Oh wow.
And there's also freshness coming in from
What?
there.
Too big a bite. How exactly did Kaya happen? हमेशा से ही प्लान था कि एक vegan restaurant, vegan cafe
I
होना चाहिए.
always wanted to move to the mountain and have a little farm and design a menu for a cafe using produce from the farm. Kaya wasn't the intended name. There wasn't any location in mind, but there has always been a fantasy. Because everything here is not planned. It's just been done out of a certain mood, out of a certain feeling. Like we didn't have a landscape artist coming in and designing a farm, and we didn't have someone come and design this cafe for us.
What
It's
about the
just-
roof? I'm very intrigued about this.
So
Was it
I-
somebody's idea?
Essentially, the brief given to Hashim was, I want a cafe, but I don't want a center pole.
A center pole. अच्छा,
Yeah.
to support a beam sort of a thing. अच्छा,
Yeah.
वो नहीं चाहिए था.
वो
Okay.
नहीं चाहिए था. So he made the side,
Frame and the
the
structure.
frame, of course, and then the roof was inspired by magpie. So essentially, they make their. I think there is a nest there somewhere. No, so they make their nest in between trees, and to prevent their nest from flying off, it's like loosely woven twigs, so that there is a gap for the air to pass through. So initially Hashim had packed up the roof, and the roof was
would fall
flying
off.
away with the wind, and then he got inspired by the nest, and then he made this porous kind of structure. And because of the night sky that we have, we didn't want to completely block it. So at night, if you sit here on a no moon night, then you, like from the center area, you get to see a beautiful skyline.
Kaya is definitely one of the best places around Leh. As soon as you enter, you are left impressed with the upcycled rustic setting inspired by the traditional Ladakhi elements. While Pooja is a chef who quietly works magic with her food, Hashim has a box full of interesting stories from the road and beyond. After 2 weeks of hectic and adventurous journey in the difficult terrains of Ladakh, this was a much needed break for my mind, body and soul.
What is it about Ladakh, living in Ladakh, that you love the most?
I think the views, the light, the quality of light and light play is what mostly does it for me.
And एक ही दिन में multiple variations of light you can explore.
So that I don't see that intensity anywhere else, or that, so much variation happening. The people, to a great degree, I think.
That's true, yeah.
The people still are in a kind of a slow pace of life.
And especially in the villages.
Yeah.
और ये मैंने कश्मीर में भी देखा है हाशिम, लोग वहाँ ऐसे ही मतलब कहीं रास्तों में अंदर कहीं जा रहे हैं, हर कोई बुलाएगा और हर कोई कहवा के लिए बुलाएगा या नून चाय के लिए बुलाएगा. There must be what, 20 odd people आज?
No, 30.
30. तो इसके बाद क्या generally do you take a weekly off? कोई fixed day?
Tomorrow is supposed to be a weekly off.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
And mostly it's on Mondays itself. So your weekend has started now.
Yeah.
Just now.
Absolutely.
There's a sense of innate calmness and contentment in slow travel. A trip is meant to have an emotional impact, and that cannot happen if we just find ourselves running. Not having hard-bound plans has its own benefits. Like in this cold, barren desert, we were rewarded with fresh showers followed by not one but 2 rainbows. It was like someone up there was happy to see us slow down and lose ourselves at this place. Sometimes let's try not to see everything on our list. Or even better, don't make a list at all.